Okay, so get ready because on this deep dive, we're going to a place that just might change how you think about home, and belonging, and what it really means to find your place in the world.
Yeah, we're going to check out We Need New Names by NoViolet Bulawayo. It's a novel that just drops us right into this
Oh, wow.
Zimbabwean shantytown
Okay.
called Paradise.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, this paradise,
Right.
it's not what you think.
Yeah, the name really gets you thinking right off the bat. I mean, it
Mhm.
makes you wonder, what does paradise really mean? It's definitely not about those typical paradise images, that's for sure.
No, not at all. It's more about scarcity,
Mm-hmm.
resilience, and the kind of childhood experiences that most of us honestly can't even imagine.
Right, and that's where you meet Darling. She's this unforgettable character.
Yeah, she's our main protagonist.
Yeah, and her friends, Bastard,
Yeah.
Cheapo, God knows, Sick, Speebo, Stina, their lives, they're just raw.
Yeah, they steal guavas just to, like, not be hungry. They're
Yeah.
surrounded by these demolished homes.
And their games. Well, let's just say their games reflect a reality that's a little too close to home. Like, remember when we were kids playing house or cops and robbers?
Yeah, good times.
Well, these kids play Find Bin Laden and act out executions. It's like their laughter has this awareness of the political violence happening around them.
The heavy stuff.
It's not just kids being kids.
It's deeper than that.
It's more like a glimpse into how everything around them, how their environment, just becomes part of how they play.
That's like play becomes their way of dealing with it all.
Yeah, like a coping mechanism to
Exact.
deal with the chaos.
And, that's where Bulawayo's really brilliant, I think. She doesn't sugarcoat the tough stuff, but she also shows us how strong people can be.
Especially kids.
It's true. It's like their games, they're tough to read about sometimes, but they show us how resilient these kids are,
Mhm.
how they find ways to escape, to make things feel normal, even when everything's crazy around them.
It's really heartbreaking, but hopeful too. But you know what really got me? The way Bulawayo uses language to just pull us right into their world. It's this blend of Shona slang,
Oh, interesting.
English, and words they just make up.
Really?
Like they call this fancy neighborhood Budapest, like it's their own code or something,
Wow.
to make sense of why things are so different for different people around them.
That makes you feel like you're right there with them. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Mhm.
It's not just about making the story feel real. It's about making us, the readers, work a little to understand what they're going through.
Right.
And when we do that, we get a better understanding of how strong they are and all the ways they survive in this world.
It's like she's making sure we're paying attention, and that's just the start. Because when Darling gets to leave paradise, she goes to America, but her My America chapter, well, that's not the dream she thought it would be.
No, not at all. It's like that classic immigrant story,
Yeah.
expectations versus reality.
I,
Suddenly, she's facing racism, trying to understand cultural differences she never even imagined. Even her name becomes a problem. People can't even say it right.
it's a whole new world, but not in a good way. More like suspicion, discomfort,
Yeah,
never fitting in.
exactly.
It's a big reality check. And
Yeah.
Bulawayo doesn't hold back on the details. Like, one thing that really gets Darling is how big everyone is in America. It's not just that they're bigger. It's like it represents this abundance,
Right.
all this excess that's so different from Zimbabwe. She even says the food is so plentiful, it is sinful.
Wow.
It's a small thing, but it says a lot about how different things are in America compared to where she came from.
It makes you think, right?
Yeah, it made me think about how I've been wrong about places before, based on stereotypes.
That's exactly what Bulawayo wants us to think about. She wants us to look at our own biases
Yeah.
and how our experiences shaped how we see the world.
It's like she's holding up this mirror
Uh,
and asking us to look closely at what we see. And sometimes what we see isn't so pretty.
that's the truth. Yeah. It's like when Darling says America's the place where dogs wear clothes, throws you for a loop, makes you rethink everything you thought you knew.
You're so right. And that feeling of not belonging, of wanting a place to belong, it's everywhere in the book.
Totally.
And you know what else really stuck with me? The way Bulawayo uses these recurring things, motifs,
Mhm.
like food or the color red, to really emphasize those themes Yeah, it's subtle, but it's powerful
I
stuff.
see what you mean.
Like in paradise, food equals scarcity.
Right.
Stolen guavas,
Really?
never having enough to eat. But in America, there's so much food. It's almost too much, you know? It's like, it disgusts, darling. Remember when she says it's so plentiful, it is sinful?
Oh, yeah, that's a great line.
It's like she's stuck between these two
I
extremes.
totally get that.
And that brings us back to belonging, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not just about food, it's about wanting to be accepted.
To find your people,
Exactly, a place where you fit in.
a place to call home.
And that's often tied to our memories, right? To the places we're from. And speaking of memories, the color red, it's like a thread connecting Darling's past and present. In paradise, it's the red earth,
Ah, I see
life, but also hardship. And then, boom, it pops up in America. It's a red dress, the one her mom wears when her dad comes back after all those years.
that. Oh, wow.
Love, but also all the complicated stuff about families.
Powerful symbolism.
And we can't forget the red shoes on the woman hanging from the tree.
Oh, man, that image.
Yeah, that one stays with you.
It sure does.
A reminder of how much violence is just part of their lives, how quickly things can turn bad. And leave a mark, you know?
No doubt.
It's like the color red is always there, watching everything, the
Yeah.
good and the bad. And speaking of bad, that scene with the dog,
Ugh, yeah.
brutal, hard to read. But it shows just how dehumanizing poverty can be.
For sure.
Displacement, how violence becomes normal.
You can't look away from that.
Exactly. It's tough, but important.
It makes you think about the stuff people face every day.
Yeah, and through it all, there's still hope,
There's always hope.
resilience.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to the ending. Darling's big question. Will paradise be the same when I return?
Man, what a question.
Right.
It makes you think about how much she's been through, all the changes, and now she has to face paradise again.
Hmm.
But it's not the same paradise in her memories, you know?
It's like she's caught between worlds,
Totally.
not fully part of either one.
And that's what makes this book so powerful, I think.
Yeah.
Bulawayo doesn't give us easy answers,
Yeah.
just more questions.
And that's a good thing, right?
The best art makes you think.
It's like that line, we are all refugees of something. It really gets you thinking about the things we carry with us, the places we want to go back to, even when they're not the same anymore.
That's what makes it so powerful, you know?
Right.
She's not just telling a story. She's making us feel it.
Yeah.
That longing, that feeling of displacement. It's something we all experience, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Whether we've moved across the world or just feel like we don't quite fit in.
It's like she's tapped into something universal, something we can all relate to. And you know what else I found interesting? Those parts about the Zimbabwean president, this larger-than-life figure, talking about progress and prosperity. While Darling and her friends are struggling just to survive,
Right.
it's like she's subtly critiquing power.
Yeah, it makes you think about who has the power to tell their story,
Exactly.
who gets heard and who gets ignored.
It's like those in charge are living in a different reality.
Totally.
And we can't forget how this book challenges the way we think about Africa. It's not just about poverty and politics. It's about resilience, community, joy, laughter.
It's about seeing the whole picture, the complexities.
Yeah, like Africa's not just one thing.
Right, it's diverse. There's so many stories to tell.
It reminds us to be open-minded,
To see the world through different eyes.
to look beyond what we think we know. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I keep thinking about Darling's question, will paradise be the same? It makes me wonder about the places we hold on to even as we change and grow.
That's the beauty of a good book, right?
It's true.
It makes you ask the big questions about life, about ourselves.
And connect with others through
Yeah.
shared stories. And we need new names. It's definitely a story that stays with you. It makes you think. It shows you the power of language.
To transport us, to make us feel things.
Exactly. So if you're looking for a good read, pick up We Need New Names. Let it challenge you, move you, and change your perspective. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.